going on, I think it's a good optics for the economy, because if you look at it now, I'm foreseeing that by December, January, February, Nigeria economy will be much more boom compared to now, because of most of those reforms will be actually be reflecting at then, especially when you look at the tax reform as well. That would have empowered other sector as well, because during that period we say maybe health and other things will not be, the tax on them would have reduced, and so there will be more purchasing power for Nigerian citizens. So there is likely going to be, so with this GDP report now, it will now help the policy direction. Even the private sector also, they are also looking at investment gap, so that as a private sector you have to look at it, okay, where is the money? Where can I actually focus to invest? So this also gives them a direction that, okay, now that real estate is captured, crop production, trade, and even mining especially, if you look at quarrying, mining, we've not actually see them coming up in terms of consideration as a metric to actually look at our GDP. So now that they are coming up, it's an opportunity both for a policymaker, investors, even a business person. So these are the benefits during for Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much, Aliu. Professor Kenife, with an eye on attaining that $1 billion economy, $1 trillion rather economy in 2030, and with the services sector now dominating, what priorities, what policy priorities must shift to support this evolving economic pattern?
I will come to that, but I want to disabuse people's minds about what GDP can do and what it cannot do. GDP is a number. It doesn't put food on your table. It doesn't pay your bills. It's just a number. And as an imaginary fairy tale. Let me explain. Who pays your bill is the debt service to revenue. Now, if your debt service to revenue is about 80% and all that, it doesn't matter what the GDP tells you, you have to pay that debt that month. And then you don't have enough revenue to pay the debt. What do? You jump to go and borrow more money. The second thing is that it doesn't tell you the gravity of the fact that when the first quarter of this year GDP was looked at, our agricultural growth was 0.07, complete melt. You might as well call it zero. It was complete meltdown. Now, when you are saying how does it affect poor man in the street, that is how it affects poor man in the street, because we are not producing enough money, no food to feed people. Population growth rate is 2.8 to 3%. Urbanization, which is shift of young people to urban area, is 4.6%. And the food to give them is 0.07%. That is crisis. And that links to the widening poverty gap. That is the link. It tells you that. So I don't want to sound negative, but it is just a potential. The reality is somewhere else. Then coming to the $1 trillion economy. First of all, there are two things to look at, and they are, you mentioned deflator. The size of your economy, the actual size of your economy, forget the politics of exchange rate and all that. The real size of the economy shows that Nigeria is the biggest economy in Africa. Our GDP purchasing power parity, that is what tells you the exact size of what you produce and what is consumed, is $1.28 trillion. It's a $1 trillion economy. But what happens is that when you come to semantics and how the world wants to look at this, they want to use a comparator to be sure that we're all on the same level in terms of when dollar comes into the picture. They will deflate that GDP, which is $376 trillion. They will divide it by 1,530 naira to a dollar. Then you are beginning to see $274 billion. In 2014, in December 2014, our GDP was $573 billion. We were only a small short to 600 billion 2020 vision 2020. But what happened? Shortly after that, oil price went down, the thing collapsed to 300. So what happens is the effect is that the thing is going up and down depending on the value of your currency. Yeah? Now, let me tell you something. It's $274 today, okay? The exchange rate is 1,530. Supposing you use the exchange rate of 500, which was what happened when this administration was sworn in, use it as a deflator, this figure becomes $720 billion. So all you need to hit your $1 trillion is just go about a 7-8% growth. But as it stands now, to use 274 billion to go to 1,000, you said 15%. It needs more than 15%. If you go and do the cumulative, because it's still going to be swinging up and down. You won't get there. It will be about 20%, which is unimaginable.
In other
but what
words,
I'm saying,
it's not achievable?
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that you can